Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Rob and I'm gonna react to what is being said out there about the real estate market and also what I said on some past videos. I think these have come out great and I can't wait to do another one. So here I am to do another Rob Reacts. Check it out on the other side. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Rob Howe, Rockstar Realtor. That makes me the realtor, and because you are watching this and because you are hearing what I'm saying, you are the rock star, and I very much appreciate you watching. I hope you appreciate what I'm bringing to you. It has been fun. This is a newish segment. I've only done one before, and it is a Rob Reacts. I'm Rob. I talk in third person sometimes. And I'm going to react to some things that are being said in other YouTube videos, including one of my own. Today I got a bunch of interesting stuff for you. So before I get to that, I want to make sure you have signed up to my channel. Did you subscribe? 1, 2, subscribe. Not for me, but for you. All right, I hope you subscribed. I'm gonna go back to my guy over at Realtor Consulting. I'm not sure the guy's actual name. I just watch stuff and I guess I don't know that he ever really mentions his name. But this is one where I'm astonished at what a strong statement he's making here about the rental market. If you have rentals, you want to maybe check out what he's saying, but I think I'm gonna have my own things to say about this. Let's see what I think.
Rents are dropping, and they are dropping fast across the US housing market, particularly in certain cities right now where investors are in absolute panic mode. They are freaking out because they are having to cut the rent by as much as 20 or 25% on certain listings.
I don't think investors are freaking out too hard right now, and I'm gonna tell you why. You know, he's saying that rents are dropping. Well, the rents in some cases are being lowered, but are they dropping? That is an overstatement of what's happening. That is not really assessing that properly. Folks, rents are not dropping, certainly not in Las Vegas. What may be happening in some cases is that the landlords or the owners are trying to go for a new high, okay? They're trying to ask for more rent. And they're finding out that people have reached a threshold. They won't do it. They won't rent these properties that they're trying to rent for that price. So now you're seeing that those properties are being reduced. The rental rates are being reduced on those properties, okay? Let's move on.
A situation which is going to lead to a mass fire sale of homes in these cities. And
really?
I'm reading some very alarming things right now from real estate data analysts about the slowdown in the rental market. Like if we go to apartments.com and CoStar, the biggest data provider for apartments in America, they just released a report saying rent went down in America nationally in August. And in particular, they identified certain markets like Nashville and Austin and San Francisco.
This is a good thing. I don't want rents to go up. I think rents are extremely high. But I also think this data is going based off of listing prices of rentals, okay? Not existing rents, okay? So if you rented that property for X amount of dollars a little while ago, last year, whatever, you got a pretty high rent rate, all right? So now you go and try to put it back on the market, and now you're gonna ask for a bunch more money. I want more because every month it seems like it's gone up. You know, if you're an owner, you say, okay, now here's a new market. Well, some of these properties aren't getting it. So I've already said that, but I want to reiterate that because that's really what's happening in most of these cases. Now, people are starting to find other ways like rent together, rent rooms. But look, the housing market, if you can't buy, right now, the interest rates are keeping people from buying. So if you can't buy, what is your option? It's renting, of course, it's renting. So you don't have people being able to get away from the rental market. So how is it that the rental market is going goodbye and all these people are going to start, like he's acting like a bunch of foreclosures are going to start happening. And unless there was another shoe to drop, I just cannot see what this guy is saying. Now, he's got a lot of data. You can watch the video for yourself. he's got a lot of data, and you can watch the video for yourself, but they're really, to me, it's just not there. There'd have to be other shoes to drop. Now, he does talk about that down the road, there's going to be some, job losses and people, and that's kind of what the Fed is after right now, which this leads into my next video. But before I go to that, let me just make sure there isn't anything else I wanted to discuss on this one.
In San Francisco and Vegas and Raleigh and Orlando is the markets where rent declined the most. But these declining rents are not just good for renters, they're also good for home buyers, because they're going to cause investors to sell off their portfolios. Because right now, the typical investor in America is only getting about...
Okay, investors are not selling off their portfolios just yet, okay? There's a couple of things about this. First of all, many of these investors got their properties at very good prices. They paid in cash, and they don't have, you don't have a mortgage to pay. So whatever you're getting on the rental income is just return on your money. Now, unless those investors have a much better place to go put their money, maybe I guess they could go put money in banks, and they're going to get the new interest rate, but that seems like a lot to go through. You got to pay commissions, and you got to hope that you can sell their property in this market and all that stuff. Or you could just hold on to it and keep making rental income. It's not as if the floor is dropping out on the rental market. So why would these people sell unless they very recently bought? Okay. Now, he's right, and I hope he's right that there could be some opportunity for people, and I certainly hope that there are better rent prices ahead. But this is not the full story, and I think he's missing a big part of it. He's also looking at, if you bought a house right now, what your return on that investment would be, or if you maybe bought it when it was even at the height, what your monthly return on your investment would be. Again, many of these investors, if they have a large portfolio, they've been buying throughout the years, and they, especially prior to the last couple of years, they're not going anywhere. They got a great deal. They got equity, even if things drop down considerably.
I'm talking to you guys, you sellers out there who are thinking you have some leverage, and maybe you're pulling your house off the market right now because you can't get the price you want, and you're thinking, oh, I'll just rent it. Well, that might not.
So he does mention that some sellers are thinking, you know what, I'll just go to the rental market. I think he is correct in you have to be careful about that and what your expectations are. Especially if you think that you're going to get massive amounts of money for your rental, and you may need to be a little bit more conservative with that number. I still think it's depending on when you bought that home, what you owe on it, all those things. There's a number of different factors. And I just think that, number one, it may be short-sighted to not hurry up and sell right now, depending on how long you want to have to hold on to that property. If you're not able to rent it or hold on to it for at least 3 to 5 years, then maybe you should consider selling as soon as possible, because right now, a home that might be around $300,000, I just did an assessment for somebody, $330,000 in Las Vegas, Nevada, is losing about $10K a month. Yeah, that's right. You're losing $10K a month. Now, that won't last forever, but nonetheless, that's how urgent it is. You got to get your property on the market and get it sold, or you should be thinking of a longer hold on that property. Now, if you got lower overhead on it, great interest rate, you have a low payment, then renting may make just perfect sense. And, nothing is guaranteed, folks, but I think this is a little bit of a, he's running around like there's fire alarms going off, and I just don't see it. I always want a caveat. I'm not perfect, and I could be wrong, but boy, I just feel this one really hard. Otherwise, I wouldn't be mentioning it all. Check out his video in full. And if you have questions about it, why don't you throw them at me? If you think I'm dead wrong and this guy's dead right, well, let me know. Check out the video. All right, this next video is from Breaking Points. I usually am not going to get into any kind of news stuff, or especially stuff that might have to do with politics or whatever, but Breaking Points has a perspective, in my opinion, and even what they would advertise is coming from both sides of the political spectrum. They do not hide that one anchor is on the right and one anchor is sort of on the left, and it seems like they actually get along, and they try to find things to talk about, common goals, stuff like that. It comes almost from, for me, a more independent perspective because of the fact that they're always looking towards the middle. This is just my opinion about it. Whatever you think about it, you might think I'm crazy for watching this, but this is what's important right here. They're talking about a guy named Jeremy Siegel who's on CNBC, talking about what's been happening with the Fed's rate movements and what they're doing to quell the inflation. It's big. You should watch this one. It's Professor Melts Down Live. I mean, they might be going a little crazy saying melts down, but they want to get people to watch just like I do. So sometimes you have an exaggerated headline.
Over Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's latest press conference and the total unwillingness of the business press to question his actions at all. Take a listen.
I think we're giving Powell, honestly, we're giving him too much of a, oh, good, he's standing against inflation. We're giving him too much praise. I mean, listen, the Fed has just, executed the last 2 years one of the biggest policy mistakes in the 110-year history
I
of
agree.
the Fed. By staying
I don't know if it's that big, but
when
it's
everything
big.
was booming and pointing to, my God, inflation's going to be a terrible problem. And now, oh yeah, we did
agree.
badly there, which he never really admitted. I mean, he still blames some things on Ukraine and, Putin and the supply side, even though oil is way below that
fast
level.
forward to this part.
Way beyond, by 3, 4, 5%. You can't have cost-push inflation when you're lagging inflation.
So this video gets into some detail, but I guess I just wanted to bring this one up because it does directly, especially deal with the housing market. The housing market is a big, gigantic piece to the economy. It's not the only piece, but when you make interest rates higher, you are basically forcing people out of the buying market, okay? And this is to quell inflation, to stop people from buying. When you buy a house, when people buy housing, they do a whole lot of other buying. They don't just buy the house, they buy all kinds of things for the house. It's a big consumer time. And so if you wanted to slow down an economy, slow down the consumers, you slow down the housing market. And the idea is that they're supposedly doing this temporarily. Well, this guy's really upset and disgusted because, and as I said on my last video like this, I think they delayed this. They didn't get on top of it. They act like it wasn't happening. Anyway, check out this video because I think this guy's pretty spot on with his assessment. I don't want to worry everybody, but I do want everybody to understand where my mindset sometimes comes from and what I'm seeing and how it helps me determine what's happening in the housing market.
Certainly no one asked about whether regular people might be hurt by Powell's attempts to crush their wages and spike unemployment. This in spite of the fact that, according to Siegel, the Fed just executed one of the worst mistakes in the 110-year history.
So that is my concern about this, what he's speaking of, which is that it has and will hurt the people that are on the lower end of the spectrum as far as economics are concerned. That we'll have to see how that happens. I think it's already started to. I've certainly have clients that are frustrated. I certainly have people throughout my life that have expressed their frustrations. They're not sure who to point the blame at. In this case, what the Fed is doing, you can point the blame at how they're dealing with this. That's how I feel about it. All right, let's move to the next segment. All right, this is a quick one from me. I just wanted to look at this because this was from back in April. It's on a video I did that talks about how long will the Las Vegas housing inventory shortage last. Now, as usual, I'm not perfect in this video. I could not have seen that we were going to have that the interest rate was going to affect us so quickly and so much, because the movements that they made were just kind of like really more quickly than we've really ever had it. As far as the speed in which they've done these rate movements, the Fed that is, that we just haven't seen anything like that. I certainly haven't in my career. And so sometimes you look back on your stuff and you feel a little silly for some of the things to say, but most of the genesis of what I was saying, I was definitely onto something. I feel that, and I wanted to point that out. So right here, be actually a slower moving market because the rates are higher, less buyers can afford the prices. I did talk about that. Suddenly drop. That is where I got that a little wrong. It could take a while for any kind of drop to happen, but we could very much didn't take a while. Plateau. And one thing that I was reminded of by a client of mine, this is a great point, astute observation by that client, was that it's very likely that buyers will, instead of having to put money as the market stabilizes a little bit,
instead of having to put money above appraisal and compete in that way, they may be able to put some of that money towards buying down the interest rate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was talking about buying down their interest rate all the way back in April, as soon as I saw interest rate movements happening, because I knew, and like I said, I did have a client that was astute to bring it up, but I also knew that as well. I just, it all dawned on me kind of at the same time that, yes, if we see interest rates move up, well, that, maybe the sellers won't be able to ask for above appraisal anymore. You can save your cash and put it towards buying down the interest rate. Or now it's come all the way to the point where you can tell the seller you want them to pay the buy down, which means that they're going to pay some closing costs if you give them the price that they need.
From there, I'm going to start figuring out a little bit more pieces of the puzzle.
Right here.
I'm going to start figuring out more pieces of the puzzle. It's getting very interesting as to what's going to happen next.
I was definitely alerted.
Is being written, and it's interest rates. Interest rates are the first thing
interest
in that
rates,
story.
folks.
There's even predictions. This is wild times. Predictions like this, like we could have still a strong housing market.
Relatively.
The bad word, the recession, right? Nobody.
Did I mention recession in April?
In the country, nobody wants our economy to go into recession, but it's possible that because of the low inventory, if we start seeing more signs of recession territory, we could be in a recession, but yet still have a strong housing market, which is wild.
I didn't quite get that one right, but it's not buried. Our housing market did not get buried. I would not call it a strong housing market anymore. So I gotta say I was not quite right on that. Now, what was right was that, and really, again, going back, my mind couldn't wrap itself around what's happening, because until it happens, you don't know. But normally, 6 months of inventory is where you have a buyer's market. Okay, we're under 6 months of inventory right now, going into October, and maybe all the way through into November. Still under that 6 months of inventory, technically a buyer's market number that everybody goes by. Well, we're in a buyer's market. There's no technicality about it. We have been in a buyer's market. Okay, so these were the things I could not have assessed. Now, that being said, it's a buyer's market because you can go beat up a seller, but not every buyer wants to get a higher interest rate right now. I suppose if you're a cash buyer, you can go in there and do what you want. And as I've been saying, I've been ending a lot of my videos. If you're a cash buyer, your time is ahead. And even if you're thinking about buying, your time may be ahead as well. I do think some of this situation is going to change. It's just, you're going to need to keep watching my videos for me to tell you when it's happening. And other videos, that's why I do these reaction videos, because other people are smart, and that's where I get some of my information from. And I want you to know what I'm seeing, and I want to react to what I'm seeing, why things are happening, and even when I said stuff, whether it was right or wrong. So I hope you enjoyed today's Rob Reacts, and I will have more videos for you coming, of course. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you very soon. I certainly hope. Have a great day, everybody. And if you need a realtor, you know how. Rob Howe, you know me, and you can contact me anytime. Have a great day.